Bonjour, madame et mademoiselle et Pikachu. Yeah, hello, welcome back to another Evercade review. Today we shall be looking at Micro Mages, which is part of the Morphcat Collection 1. A pretty brilliant cartridge by all accounts. I love pretty much everything about every game on this cartridge. We shall be concerning ourselves today with Micro Mages and Micro Mages 2, the second quest, which are two 8-bit platformers in the mould of amazing games of the past. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's take a look at what we will find on Morphcat Collection 1. So if you like platforming games, this is going to be a great cartridge for you to pick up because Bobby, Super Bat Puncher, Space Gulls and the Micro Mage games are all platformers. But Micro Mages and Micro Mage 2, the second quest for me, are the best ones on the cartridge. Micro Mages is an 8-bit platformer for up to 4 consecutive players, where you work together to compete for score as you work your way up the 26 levels and 8 worlds of the game. Use Micro Mage's wall jumping skills to reach tricky platforms and blast enemies with powerful magic. A scant description of the game there. What it doesn't tell you is there are a plethora of pickups, loads of different enemy types and 8 separate bosses to fight, and once you've defeated all 8 bosses across the 26 levels of the 8 towers, there is a final boss to defeat before you can say you've completed the game. So without further ado, let's get started. Micro Mages and Micro Mages 2, the second quest, let's go! Great start for this game, really cheerful, really energetic music to get us started, and a very nice looking intro screen. Even though it's in 8 bits with minimal colours, it looks absolutely fantastic. So let's not waste any time, let's get started by pressing start. 1 player, no password because we're just starting, and we start on Tower 1-1. So as with normal, we start to see what the controls are. There's 2 buttons, jump and shoot. Jump is controllable, so the longer you press the button, the higher up you will jump, and you can shoot up, down, left and right. You can also shimmy off walls and shoot the opposite direction to the wall that you're shimmying off of. And as you can see, you have a cool little parkour wall jump move, so you can jump from wall to wall, or you can jump up the same wall. And you have destructible blocks, semi-transparent platforms, and that flag is like a checkpoint flag, so there's checkpoints, and then we meet our first enemies, the typical bear skeleton that you see in most games of this type. Now you have to remember that even though it's quite a forgiving game, the screen does move slowly. If you fall out the bottom of the screen you will die because it only scrolls up towards the top. That pickup I got has given me an extra bit of energy, so now I can take 1 hit by an enemy. Pearls just give you points. And as you can see, the point of this game is to collect as many pearls and gems and power-ups, kill as many enemies as you can, and make your way up the top towards the portal door, and then go into the portal door to get to the next stage. And the amount of stars remaining lit when you go through the door are extra bonus points you get for completing it quickly, which I didn't do there at all, so I got none. So after 4 or 5 towers, you will reach the first boss, which I'm about to do here. And you know you've reached the boss because it scrolls up automatically and the music changes. And our first boss is a ghosty. It's kind of demonstrating to you how to beat the boss there. See, when the wind was blowing me up towards the platform stopped me from getting blown up all the way in the air, and I feel like that's going to be the way to defeat this boss, is when he goes to the corner to do his special attack and cause the gust of wind, I have to stand underneath these platforms in order that I don't get eaten by his ghosty mouth, like I just did. So it's a pretty straightforward boss fight, I feel. Shooting him, it's going to do the job here. But it is the first boss, so it's not meant to be too challenging. And every time he does the gust of wind attack, he removes 1 of the blocks. So effectively, it's time limited. You have 4 of those attacks to go, and then if you don't defeat him on the 5th one, you will die because you will get blown up in the air and he will scan across the screen and eat you. I suppose if you've got one of those fairy power-up things, then you'll have another chance, but realistically, see there, I just got hit and I lost my fairy power-up. Realistically, you're going to have 4 phases to kill him, and if you don't, you will die. And there we go, we've vanquished the scary ghost. And then you jump out the screen towards the next tower. So I've skipped forward a bit, we're on Tower 3 now, so I can show you some of the more interesting enemy types and power-ups. I now have fairy wings, which mean I can float if I hold down jump. And you've got your evil goats that blow bubbles towards you, which you have to avoid. So the game gets a little bit tougher. But as tough as it is, you also get more chances for power-ups. Oh, I died. See, I'm rubbish at these games. So now that we've looked at Micro Mages 1, let's swap discs. Or we won't, we'll just go back into the menu and swap games. Let's have a look at Micro Mages 2, the second quest. Can't get enough of Micro Mages? Well, it sounds like a DLC from what they've written there, so I'm expecting it to be pretty much the same, just with more challenging levels, different pickups. And we start with Tower 1-1. Yeah, I think it's going to be more of the same, because the tower looks very similar, the graphics are the same. It just has more enemies, a more complex layout, and tougher challenges for the more experienced mage player. So let's have a look at one of the later levels, 2-2. This is definitely one of those games where if you have 2 players or 3 or even 4 players, you're going to find it a lot easier to get through each level, because while you don't have to kill every single enemy, there is a benefit to actually clearing the enemies, especially the ones like this satanic goat who fires bubbles which will kill you, and even if it's just about to go off the screen, it will have fired some bubbles at you and they will rise up and they will probably kill you before you reach your goal. So definitely try and clear all the enemies, and that's going to be much easier if you're not a lonely Larry like me, if you've got some friends to play with you. But aside from that, you've got your basic jumping and shooting mechanic, which, as I said before, is kind of ripped off from Mario, but is a really strong, solid mechanic to base a game around, and I feel like this is a really fun game, which rewards the more experienced player. So the more you play this game, the more fun you'll have with it, especially if you've completed Micro Mages 1. I haven't completed Micro Mages 1 yet. I'm going to go back and complete it after I finish this game, after I finish making this review, I should say. So as you can see, it can be quite punishing at times. It's not the easiest game. It's definitely not a kid's game, even though the graphic, you know, it could be. You could sit a kid in front of this, but it's quite difficult. I doubt there'd be many kids who are skillful enough to actually complete any of these games. So they are adult-based games. But they're not that punishing in terms of when you've actually reached the end of a level, or if you're near to a boss, they will give you a checkpoint. So the checkpoints are well planned. I feel the level design is excellent. The level design and planning is very well thought out. A little homage to Donkey Kong there with the enemies. I wonder if can we kill one of these guys? Let's see if we can kill him. Boo 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 boo, die! Yeah, so we can kill those quite easily. I know that if I go down that pipe, I'm going to come out on the other pipe and die, so I'm not going to do that. And we finish the level. So Tower 2-3 is the last tower before we fight the second boss. So let's progress through this tower and see what that boss fight contains. There you go, see, I knew it. You go down a tube, you come out the other tube. That's the gimmick of this tower, this set of levels. I love how they've styled this whole tower out like Donkey Kong. So if you ever remember the Donkey Kong game from the 80s, like before Mario was a thing, Donkey Kong was a thing, they've really made this level look like a Donkey Kong level, which is cool. Note to self, don't shoot the green skull because he turns into an angry red skull and will shortly kill you. At the moment he's slow, easy to avoid. Once you shoot him and he turns red, he will go very fast and he goes roar, and is scary and goes towards you at a shockingly fast speed, which is quite off-putting when you're trying to do some detailed, complex platforming move. So once we've done away with these ghosties, we will go to the boss fight, who is a evil-looking wizard with two pipe wizards either side of him. Now, I didn't figure this out in time because I was enthralled by the Donkey Kong styling of the levels, and I thought, let's kill these guys. The way to kill this boss is not to die immediately like I just did. So a few minutes after dying, I figured out the way to kill this boss is to shoot down the middle upwards towards the main wizard and completely ignore the wizards either side of you. However, I didn't figure this out in time for this review, so I won't be able to kill this boss for you to see. But let's have another go anyway. Not one to easily give up. So, in conclusion, died immediately. In conclusion, what do I think of this game, Micro Mages 2, and the previous one, Micro Mages? Well, I think the level design is expertly done, and the fact that this fit on 40 kilobytes is something of a minor programming miracle. I can't believe they fit this whole game, sound, music, and all those levels. There's absolutely tons of levels. I can't believe they fit that all onto 40 kilobytes, which is a tiny, tiny amount of data. But it won't let you down. I feel like this entire game is fun all the way through. It doesn't get boring or samey. It's challenging, but it's not too difficult. But it isn't too easy. You're not going to be flying through the levels at a rate of knots. You are going to be dying here and there. And each boss fight presents its own challenge. So like the ghosty boss that we fought at first, he's got a different challenge to this guy. This guy's got a different challenge to the next guy. And then when you reach the final boss at the end of the game, you will need all your wits and skill and experience to help you. And when you beat that final boss and beat the game, you'll get a code so that you can restart the game with unlimited lives. So, final fun score time and conclusion, what do I think of this cartridge? So there, as you saw, Micro Mages and the second quest is like a homage to earlier Donkey Kong and Mario games, and in fact most popular platformers of the time. And I think because of the influence these games have had upon this game, it's like a more mature version of those earlier games. So it's a great platformer. I love the jumping off walls and the shimming between wall-to-wall mechanics, the shooting up and down mechanics good. It's not an easy game, it is a difficult game to complete, but like I said, it rewards experience. It rewards you playing it again and again, so you won't be bored with it. And I feel like it's an excellent addition to the Evercade library. So in conclusion, do I think you will enjoy Micro Mages and Micro Mages 2? Yes, I do. I think absolutely go out and buy Morphcat Games Collection 1. All the games on there are amazing, and these two games are my personal favourites on that particular collection. So that's about all there is to say about those two games. Go out and buy them before they go out of stock and enjoy them in your own home. And that brings us to the end of our review. So in conclusion, final fun score for this game, 7 out of 10. The reason it's dropping points is just because it isn't very original. There's nothing new in there that you won't have seen before. But nevertheless, the things it does extremely well, and for that reason, I'm going to say go out and buy this before it goes out of stock, and you will not be disappointed. You will absolutely enjoy every second you spend with these games. So that brings us to the end of our review. Hope you enjoyed that. God bless, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? So look out for Astabros, Demons of Asterborg, and Astabros going to be reviewed next time. So until then, keep well, God bless, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. Bye bye.